Moving on means so many different things for different people. Sometimes that means letting go of a significant other, a friend, family member, someone toxic in your life. I know I'm wearing sunglasses, it's just kind of sunny. Moving on does not mean the same for everybody. Because sometimes it even means moving on from your past self. Think about it. It's super easy just to imagine getting rid of a friend, getting rid of a loved one that's like toxic, getting rid of somebody who just doesn't belong in your life. But then you also have to move on from your old self. Sometimes we have habits that help us get through hard times. And whether they're healthy or whether they're unhealthy, you have old parts of you that you hold on to. And that's normal. It really is. But sometimes we have to let that go. It's hard. Letting go of yourself is hard. Because you have this particular notation of yourself to be a certain person, a certain identity, a certain characteristic, personality, job, place, work, school. You identify yourself with a certain attribute. And at times you have to let that go and move on and move forward. And I say this coming from being to where a place I was a year ago. I was literally sitting in this exact same spot a year ago. Ish. And I was also doing an internship here. And I was like, how am I going to get through this? How am I going to do that? But I did. And I'm moving forward and I moved on. And I went through this past internship. And now I'm here. Sitting in the same spot that I was a year ago. And it's wild to think how much a year can change. And it's wild to think how much I've changed as a person and an individual. But the thing is, I don't even know what I was going to say. The thing is, it's completely about moving on. Because you should. And sometimes it's necessary. Even though it's hard, it's necessary. Because moving on doesn't mean forgetting someone, something, a memory. It just means accepting that was in the past. Moving on means accepting the past and being open to the future. Because if you are continually stuck in this past moment, mentally, physically, emotionally, you have no energy, no space in your heart, in your mind, and in your soul to move forward. Because if you mentally think you're there, then you're physically there. Because it's the same thing like when you're in class. You absolutely hate being in class. So then you're not there. Physically, you're there. But mentally and really physically and spiritually, you're not there. Because you're daydreaming, you're thinking about other things, you want to be somewhere else, and so you are at that somewhere else. And there's nothing good and there's nothing bad about that. That's just life. There are so many times in life where we don't want to be where we are, and so we try to go mentally other places. And that is just life. And when we can accept that where we are is the only thing we have control of, that is when our world opens up. That is when our experiences finally can become life, rather than life just being experiences. I will repeat that. Once we open ourselves up and give ourselves space to be in the moment and in the present and not in the past, our experiences in the present become our life, rather than our life becoming our experiences. Because we can open ourselves up to the experiences and then we get to live, rather than just our experiences becoming, or our life just becoming experiences. Just going through the motion, just getting this done, getting this checkbox done. And that is the point of moving on. And moving on is not something that has to be like, oh, I'm 100% fine and I don't need them anymore, or I don't need that particular thing anymore. Because that's impossible to do that quickly. And sometimes you're going to have those ripple effects of feeling that emotion, missing that person, that thing, that noun that you got through that hard time with. Moving on does not mean that you do not want to be with that person, do that thing, or just be that person that you were. Moving on is so much more complicated. It's just day by day that you do it. It's not, it is done. It is, I am doing it. That is what moving on is about. And it's scary. It's scary not to know how to move on, because that is very unknown. And moving on, for me, will look something completely different than you. And for you, and for me, and your next door neighbor, and your friend. Because it is so personal. And I do think it's true that some people can move on within 2 and 3 months of their significant other, if they were done. But then also at times I think it's so true that you could take 5 years to get over somebody. It's really personal. It's really up to the person. And it's really unknown. And that's okay. You don't have to know. You don't have to keep being hard on yourself of trying to get over or to move on or to just continue, because you are. Like, this is not a, you're gonna do this, you're doing great, you are doing it. It's as a single breath that you're taking, you are moving on. Because every single breath that you took just now, within these 2-3 seconds, you moved on. Maybe not emotionally, maybe not mentally, but physically, you moved on. Because you continued. That's all about this entire thing, is that you are continuing even when it's hard. You are moving on even though it's still hard for you emotionally, physically, and mentally. And that's normal. That really is so normal, because life's hard. There are so many things that are hard, and we shouldn't add another thing onto our life that is hard. Because like I said, we have so many things already going on in here and in our bodies that it's just hard already. But I think once we can finally move on and accept that the past is in the past and that the present is the only thing that we have control of now, we can slowly gain the experience to help us finally live, and to have and gain those experiences to open our eyes to the abundance of what this world has for us. Food for thought.